centuries of tinkling and tumbling, the saga of Whites of Appleton. Imagine, if you will, 1824. George IV is on the throne, top hats are all the rage, and in the quaint village of Appleton, a young blacksmith named Alfred White has an epiphany. Not about inventing the wheel, that was already done, thankfully, but about bells. Specifically, what happens after a bell is cast. Because, let's be honest, a bell just sitting there is about as useful as a chocolate teapot and far less likely to cause a ruckus. It all started, as many good stories do, with the lord of the manor getting a bit fancy. He decided the church's paltry 3 bells simply wouldn't do and commissioned a grand new ring of 6. Alfred, being a local lad, was among the eager youths taught the noble art of bell ringing. But while his mates were probably just enjoying the delightful racket, Alfred saw a gap in the market. Someone, he must have thought, wiping soot from his brow, has to actually hang these things, and probably fix them when Uncle Reginald gets a bit too enthusiastic on Christmas Eve. And so, from humble beginnings in a blacksmith's forge, Whites of Appleton was born. One can only imagine the early days. Alfred, probably smelling faintly of iron and ambition, single-handedly hoisting monstrous bronze objects with ropes and sheer willpower, perhaps muttering under his breath about the lack of decent PPE in the 19th century. His workshop, I like to think, was a delightful chaos of wood shavings, arcane tools, and the occasional startled pigeon. The business, like a well-hung bell, chimed along, passed down through the generations, from Alfred to Frederick, who mercifully decided to keep the business in Appleton. Imagine the logistical nightmare of moving bell-hanging equipment cross-county. Then came Brian, who, with a stroke of genius, officially branded the company Whites of Appleton. A wise move, ensuring that no one accidentally mistook them for a dry cleaner or a particularly enthusiastic baker. Fast forward to the 21st century, and Whites is still at it, almost 200 years young. They've gone from Alfred's probable wing-it-and-pray method to a sophisticated blend of traditional craftsmanship and, one assumes, slightly less precarious lifting techniques. They still deal with the same fundamental problem: getting gigantic, often incredibly old, pieces of metal to swing just right so they make beautiful noise, rather than, say, falling through the floor and redecorating the crypt. They've even handled the grandest gigs, St. Paul's Cathedral. Imagine the pressure. One wrong move and you've got a very unhappy dean and a national headline about Bellgate. Westminster Abbey and Windsor Castle have also experienced the White's touch, ensuring that even the most regal bongs are perfectly tuned. It's safe to say that if a bell needs hanging, swinging, or generally not plummeting to earth, Whites of Appleton is the name to call. So next time you hear a church bell pealing, spare a thought for Alfred White, the blacksmith who saw beyond the clang and recognized the noble, often humorous art of making sure those glorious, noisy lumps of metal stayed precisely where they were meant to be.